Hello, welcome to the G.I. Joe New News Classified Reviews. My name is David T. Allen, or if you would like, Super Dave 817. If you would like to see more of this content, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification button for future videos. Thank you and enjoy.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the G.I. Joe New News Review. I am David Allen. Thank you for joining us today. We are covering number 48, and that is our first Zarana Dreadnought character, and she's a doozy. I really like her a lot. So this is the first dip into the Dreadnought world that the G.I. Joe Classified has gotten after Zartan. We got two Zartans, and we're probably going to be getting another one pretty soon from the vintage line. So that's going to be interesting. And then we got the regular Dreadnoks, and then we got Zarana and some of the ancillary Dreadnoks after the fact. So she's the first one to get us started with the Dreadnoks. So I hope you guys are going to enjoy this video because it's going to be a fun one. So first, let's get into Dan Klingensmith's series of books. We have the Creating the History of G.I. Joe, number 2, volume 2. And Zarana has some interesting turnarounds. It stayed pretty close to, hey, Bobby World, thank you for joining me again. I appreciate it. Coming a little bit later on a Sunday, so I agree. I appreciate it. Let's see. I wonder if they're going to do a Deke era Zarana. It's pretty much just a different shade of hair color. Probably we're going to be getting Deke stuff through Super 7 reaction. We probably would have gotten that if they had continued with regular reaction. But now that they're doing Reaction Plus, that's something that I would guess they would probably also delve into, is doing different versions. Like they kind of did that with Wild Bill. They're doing it kind of with Serpentor. They've done it with the Bat. So I think as a filler type of thing to do more characters, because they can't do all the top tier characters for Super 7 O-Ring Plus, Reaction Plus for that line. So they're going to have to throw in characters like that. So I'm guessing Super 7 will do the O-Ring version, Reaction Plus, and Classified, if they do a vintage package version of Zarana, maybe to make her more different, maybe they would use more of the Deke colors. I don't know. We've gotten some of the Deke characters, but we have homages in some of those Deke characters from Classified. So there's a way maybe Classified might do a Deke version of her as a vintage package. But then I don't know if people would cry that they didn't get the traditional vintage package. We're going to go into all that once we get into the character itself. But that's an interesting question. There's a lot to unpack with that question, Bobby World. Hopefully we can answer some of those questions as we go along. So there you go. There's Zarana. There's a whole bunch of turnarounds for Zarana. And there's two different variations. Now, when I was younger, I had both variations on her with her different heads. There you can see the different head styles. But as a vintage, I only have version 2, because a lot of people didn't like the version 1. So we will go into that in just a minute. Um, so that is all. Let's see what Dan had to say about her. Alternate names and A, year release 1986, designed by Ron Rudat. Again, he did pretty much all the figures and characters and vehicle drivers for the first 7 years. Ron Rudat did. Trying to stay in sequence with other dreadnoughts, Ron designed Zarana to carry some of the same punk elements. One of the interesting things about Zarana was that there was a running change with her head after being released. Besides removal of earrings on the second version, facial features also changed. So there you go. Dan explains the running variant of the head. The first head, she had like weird puffy things on the side. She had earrings. So that's called the earring variant of Zarana's head. I don't have that variant. Some of those weird variants I don't have. Like they've done several variants of her, variants of Ricardo, variants of Wild. Uh, can't think of his name. Wild Weasel? No, that's the Rattler driver. Um, Copperhead, where there's different paint apps and different things on them. So there are different variations of those characters. I don't have all those variants because I just don't. But we're going to go into Carson Metaxas' series, and that's Creating the Art of G.I. Joe. This is volume 3, 86 through 87 by Carson Metaxas and 3D Joes. And I've always been big fan of the Dreadnoks over the years and Zartan's family lineage. Um, oops, what am I doing? Oh, there. And there's her vintage package, Zarana. And they've always been close to my heart, the Dreadnoks. Growing up, I was a big fan of them as a kid. And you can see that package has the original head, has that weird head on there. You can see that? And she had some really cool weapons. So then her first appearance is in issue 50 of A Real American Hero, written by Larry Hama. Um, I think it's in the backup. I think there's a backup story with Zarana. Let me make sure where her and the Dreadnoks appear, but I'll check that out. And then, of course, she appeared first in the Sunbow animated miniseries Arise, Serpentor Arise, Part 1, where they introduced the Dreadnoks in there. A lot of new Dreadnoks, like Zarana, Xandar, Monkey Wrench, and Thresher. So let's see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she has a cameo in the backup of that issue. There's a backup story with Serpentor. No, I guess she doesn't. She just appears at the gas station, the Dreadnoks gas station. That's her first appearance right there. Storm Shadow meets her. So that's interesting. So I guess the backup story with the Dreadnoks is that was with the annual. I think the third annual. That's or yearbook. They're called. That's where that backup story. But so I guess she appeared at the final page of issue 50. So there you go. And then let's get into our vintage version of her. So here we go. Let's see. Looks like I have all of her accessories. She was one of the newer bucks where she had a wider leg on her, so she was a little bit wobbly, and this one is no different. She's a bit wobbly. There's your vintage, and that's got the running variant head where it's got more of a mohawk kind of hair that goes on the top, and no earrings, or it does have earrings. No earrings, actually. And so she has those thicker legs on the buck there. She has a backpack. So we'll put that on. And there. And then she has her buzzsaw gun there. There. Kind of looks like a lawnmower type blade that she has. So we'll put that in her hand. This was a really big year for GI Joe. 86. The brand went back up. It went down slightly over the last couple years, 84, 5, whatever. But it took a big jump in 86, and some of the most loved and most beloved characters came out of 86 for GI Joe. So I would say the core uh, years for GI Joe is, I would say, 82 to 86 are your let's see, 5 years are probably the best 5 years of GI Joe in retail and with the numbers and stuff with Hasbro, because there is so much stuff that came out of this year. Not only did we get a bunch of new dreadnoughts, but we got the USS Flag came out around this time. We also got like the Tomahawk. We got some reissue with some characters like Hawk and Roadblock. And we got some really cool new bad guys with Dr. Mindbender, the Bats, the Vipers, Serpentor. So it was a huge year. And it was the launch for season 2 of the animated series and Arise, Serpentor Arise. And we also got a special guest star. They started to introduce people from the real world into GI Joe, and that's where we got Sergeant Slaughter. So all that really made 86 one of the top years of the GI Joe brand and for retail out at the stores. So now we're going to get into Zarana, number 86. Let's see what her designations are real quick. She has the skull and crossbones. So she's got mercenary is the top one. Let's see. Arrow weapons. So mercenary, arrow weapons, infiltration, and then the last one is disguise. So there you go. So mercenary, arrow weapons, infiltration, and disguise. So those are all her designations. There. So let's get her opened up. She also has beautiful like anime style artwork on the side here. I really like this anime style. They've used this artist 3 or 4 times. And it scrolls over to that side. I like it. I think they did a good job with that. It's a very anime style version, and there's several other characters that have that. And it's sad because she's going to be one of the last characters to be utilizing that artwork on the side of the package. I'm very upset about that because I really enjoyed the different art styles for each of these characters. Then we got the Cobra logo. We didn't get the Dreadnought logo inside. I'm very surprised about that. I thought for sure we would have gotten the Dreadnought logo, but they did not include that in Zarana. All right. So now she veers away from the vintage version, and I'll go over some of that in just a moment. They definitely upgraded her for Classified, and there's a lot of new use on her. Bobby World, I want mine if they start doing the artwork on that insert on the inside, and so just having the Cobra or Joe symbol. are you asking a question there, Bobby Word? Do you want them to have the Dreadnought logo on there? Because it didn't have that, so they should have had the different factions like they have done with other characters. When we get into the Python and Tiger Force, they show the different logo factions. Hey, Lone Dragon, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. We're talking about Zarana. Um, so she gets a really nice hairdo. I like the fact, Bobby World. I wouldn't mind if they had the artwork on the uh, insert instead of just the Cobra. Yeah, yeah. So you agree with me on that. You want the artwork on the interior of the packaging so we can still get some of that, right? I think that makes sense because then if you wanted to make a dio or something, you can take that artwork out and you can have it behind the figure and it would kind of be cool. You can get some stands like the stands that I got from Amazon and you could do stuff like that. I think that's a good way of doing some playability, and they're always looking for ways to utilize playability or more use out of each character, right? So yeah, I think that would be a good idea. Lone Dragon, you got good QC. Some people have issues with her lower arms coming off. Oh, I didn't know that. I haven't heard that one, Lone Dragon. Thank you for letting me know. Um, so what was I? So her her head is different. She's got two different hair pieces. So there's a fade there. It's got like a mullet, more of a mullet, and there's a purple pink fade to the hair, and it goes all the ways around there, and it's like a. It looks very 80s. It to me, I grew up in the 80s, and this looks very 80s. It looks like a Cyndi Lauper type character, Madonna type character, right out of the gate. I think they could have had like some little strings or something hanging down with some jewels or something. Maybe that would have been the perfect thing. But they upgraded her and they made her more like the 80s, in my opinion. So instead of taking the classic and upgrading to classified, they took the classified and they retro actively made her more like the 80s, in my opinion. I think the newer one is more modern, but I think this one looks way more 80s. She's got like a pink leather jacket, like one of those Michael Jackson type jackets, except it's cut off. She's got the shoulder poltrons, which was part of the original version, but she has a her jacket's like a secondary. She has a harness. You can see there the harness kind of holds that on there, and she's got like this metal shoulder jewelry and stuff like that. Um, so I really like this. I like the retro upgrade to her, make her look more like the 80s. She has the arm, the like leather arm things that women used to use, like the Madonna type people used to use with the fishnets. It would have been nice if that was real fishnets and they covered up the arm and stuff. I know that cloth goods wasn't quite in use at this point. We'll be getting into cloth goods probably with our next figure. That's the soonest we get cloth goods with this line. But I think that would have been cool to make that fishnets on those arms and then have the arms be flesh color and stuff. So she's got a lot of deco. She got some brown with that harness, silver, black, brown on her gloves and hands, all different color deco on her hair, pink, red, orange, and so on. And then when we get into her jeans, she does have the traditional ripped jeans with the pink, and that's another one where I think if we had the fishnets over that or under that or something like that, it would have been one layer up of quality, but I guess they weren't there yet. There's a lot of brown, some silver on that chain, There's a lot of silver, brown, and black in her boots. She's definitely an upgrade, in my opinion, to the 80s Zarana. Even though I love the 80s Zarana and Xandar, I think this is definitely an upgrade to that figure. And it's just that one step closer would have been like through the roof if they would have had cloth fishnets on her legs and her arms. She has like a brown interior, like leather there. She's got higher boot knee pads, and she got some cowboy boot type little thingamajigs. I can't remember the name of those cowboy things. If any of you guys in the chat know, let me know what those little cowboy things are. She has a sheath on the side for a knife, brown sheath. Um, I think her face tempo is next level. She's got this angry, real angry grimace on her face. Can you see that? And she's got some eyeshadow, and she got some really good lip color on her. That's an excellent face print, in my opinion. So we're gonna put her down slightly. We're gonna test out the second hair. So we got another hair piece. So this is where they go closer to the vintage with this hair. So we take off this hair. Boop, they changed, and they, instead of doing different heads, they're mixing and matching stuff now. So some we get new heads, some we get new hair, some we get hats, some we get a bunch of different things on her. Let's see. So she has more of a traditional look. I'm not too thrilled unless maybe I have this. Yeah, I have it on the wrong way. It didn't look good, but I had it on the wrong way. So let's do it like that. Ah, I see. Now she looks like herself. There. Okay. Now she looks much more vintage with that hair. She's got that pompadour type mohawk there. The spurs, yes, the spurs. Thank you, Lone Dragon. So I like the other hair. I think the other hair looks better for her. This is more of the vintage, but I like this the mullet better with the different colors and stuff. It gives her a little bit variety in her color and makes her more punk. I think she looks more punk with that hair. That's just my own personal opinion. Growing up in the 80s and being a fan of big hair metal and stuff like that of the 80s, Guns N' Roses and Poison, Def Leppard, and all that stuff. That was my era of music. All right, so for articulation, she has the shoulder, butterfly shoulder. She has the ab crunch, the waist. She's got the double pin shoulders, and she has shoulder pads on there as well. She has the wrist articulation. She does not have the second wrist articulation. She has the new head rock articulation. She's got the regular crotch waist articulation. She's got the thigh swivel here. She's got the knee double pin knees. She has, let's see if she has the second ankle articulation. She does not have the second ankle articulation. She does have the foot rocker. So she does, it must be harder for them to give the females some of that secondary articulation that they've been giving to the men. They've only done a few with that secondary wrist and secondary ankle articulation. Yeah, I have the mullet on mine. Yeah, it's just much more like I said, Cyndi Lauper, Madonna-esque 80s. All the girls growing up in school were using their hair like that, similar to that, or they had that big bouffant, kind of like the other Zarana. So those are the two styles that a lot of the women had. But there's a lot of layering on this. It really looks like she's got jeans on and stuff like that. I'm hoping if they do a vintage version of her, they make the jeans lighter, and they they give her the shirt, and if they do the Deke version, to do that lime green shirt instead, to give it at least a little bit more variety. Give her some more different heads, maybe give her the second or the first head from the vintage, so that'll give you three different hairdos to use on her. She comes with a brown backpack. Her backpack in the vintage was red there. So this one kind of goes with her color deco. It's brown. Uh, let's see. So we're gonna put that on her, and It's a pretty cool backpack. There's obviously a lot of things that you can do with this backpack. There's a like a little doodad in the top of it. You can put something in there. There's a lot of greeble on that backpack because she is a master of disguise. So I'm wondering if, like her brother Zartan, she has a face print thing or some sort of a mask creator inside there. It does not open though. Um, yeah, biceps are really good on mine. I don't have any problem. Um, the You can see in the back the shoulder pauldrons have a separation. There's a harness holding those on. I don't have any issues with it at all, Lone Dragon. But remember, mine's been in the package for 5 years, so maybe it had time to cure and settle. Whereas maybe people that opened it right off the bat, maybe those didn't settle or cure properly. I'm not sure. I'm just guessing there. So I like the boots on her. There's some artwork on those boots. There's also some padding there on those uh, knee pads that's layering there. So she looks really good. All right, let's get into some of her weapons. Um, she has a bloody blade there, a bloody blade, and there's some greeble, and it looks like some technology or something on that. There's some greeble on there, so I'm guessing that must go up into uh, the backpack. Let's see. Let's see if that's what that is, because maybe it's some sort of a saw blade, like a buzz saw, or maybe it's like a chainsaw or something. Or maybe it's a knife. You know, they have those like carving knives to cut turkeys on Thanksgiving. Maybe that's what that is. That could be it. Maybe that's why it has like some greeble there, a charger to charge her carving knife instead of giving her um, the the weed whacker type gun. She's got that gun. Oh, it's supposed to be red hot. That's why it's got some red deco on it. Yeah, you're probably right, Lone Dragon. You're probably right. But I think it's a carving knife, which is funny, and that's different. So there's that classifying up that they're doing. They're adding some new elements that were not in the original line. Then she has this knife, and so she has the sheath on the side. So I'm going to put the knife in the sheath. That went in pretty good. So I like it when you can get all the stuff inside. I don't think we're going to get everything on this figure, but we're going to get most of it. So then she has a cartridge. So this is where they started. They've been doing these cartridges on the last several figures, these ammo cartridges. So I'll put that aside, and we'll probably put that on her gun, her big gun here. And then she's got a bladed gun. It's not quite the same as the one that she had. It looks more like a pizza cutter, kind of like a large pizza cutter. And there's all kinds of greeble on that, and deco for the blade itself, and a little bit on the handle. So yeah, um, it's pretty good. Let's see if this cartridge goes in here. Yes, the cartridge goes in here in her gun. If I can get it in there. No, maybe not. Oh, there it goes. All right, so I got the cartridge in, and so I have her bladed weapon set there. So we're gonna put that in her hand. It would have been nice to have gotten something to put that extra hair into, like her backpack, like Zartan, open it up and put her hair in there, and then everything that she has would be on her. Um, and there you go, Zarana with her saw blade gun. She looks phenomenal, I must say. And based off of this, I can see where the Xandar is going. I don't want to jump ahead too far because Xandar is one of my favorite Cobras. Um, and so one of these days, if I do some more top tens, we'll show my top favorite 10 favorite Joes and 10 favorite Cobras. And Xandar will probably be in my top favorite Cobras. Hey, John Jones. Yo, Joe. How are you? Thanks for joining us. We're going over Zarana, much more 80s vintage stylings, upgrade, kind of retro stylings, and the vintage one is a little bit. I would say this vintage one looks a little bit more modern. I don't know. Maybe it's because of the paint. Maybe it's just what they had at the time. But I don't think that that art that they utilized in Dan's book really captures the essence of this Zarana the way that the new modern one. I think they capture better. Let's go and take a look at that again. Um, so, what do you guys think? Do you think this Zarana is closer to the vintage, or do you think the classified took a little bit more liberties and they made the Zarana that we've gotten now closer to this? Because there's like two versions of her. So, if you look over there, there's another version on that edge of the page there. Um, I don't know. It's 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 tricky for me. I'm not sure. But now that I see this, I want to see if there's any tampos on her because the other one has tampos on it. The vintage one, no vintage tampos. So they took out all the tampos, which is a shame. I think it would have been cool to have some sort of tattoo or something on her. And the fact that you see part of her back here, you see part of her back. I think that would have been the perfect place to put a back shoulder tattoo. Since we know Xandar, they went out of their way to give him his tattoo. I'm wondering if Lenny and them can squeeze in a tattoo or two on Zarana's back if they just do reuse of this or if they do a whole nother torso and maybe we get some tattoos. Um, but yeah, I think that's a missed opportunity on this because it's a beautiful figure. So there are a couple of missed opportunities. Sean Jones, we were talking about the fishnets that were missing on her arms that could have been cloth goods, and the could have been in the jeans here over the pink could have been cloth goods, but I don't know if they are able to do those overlays for the clothing yet with that. So I've seen other figures, larger figures do it, but classified it might be too small for that. I'm not sure. Uh, yeah, you wish Zandar's vest could be removed. There is a way to do it, from what I understand. I've seen people do this, but it's only if you want to do it. They've used like a X-Acto knife and they've separated that so you can take it off and you can put it back on fairly easy. They use an X-Acto knife and they cut it in a seam and it's removable. So they made it so it could be removed because it is a secondary. All these secondaries, if you wanted to, you could technically take them off. You'd have to like remove the heads and try to get them off the bodies and stuff, but they should be removable, I would guess. But Xandar was specifically done so you could get see that tattoo underneath his chest. They've pointed that out in many a video. Hasbro Pulse team, Lenny and Tony and Emily and them. Oh, Lenny will find a way to give them tattoos. Yeah, he does, but he didn't do it with this. He didn't do it with this Zarana. So I think those are some missed opportunities. Definitely right there on that shoulder, back shoulder, would have been a perfect spot for a tattoo, and the fishnets for her. But she's an excellent figure. I think she looks very, very cool, very 80s punk rock scene, in my opinion. I don't think we could have, other than the cloth goods and maybe a tampo here or there, I don't think we could have asked for a better Zarana figure for our first outing. I'm hoping they really, really go to town on a vintage package version of her. If it's as good as I hope it could be, and I'm dreaming it could be, I'll probably get a lot of those because, like I said, the Dreadnoks are one of my closest factions to my heart. Obviously, they're not as good as the Crimson faction, and they are in Grenadiers faction because both of those have bigger places. But I love me some Nox. I really do. So, what do you guys think? You think they hit this one out of the park? This Zarana? I think so. So now I can separate my Dreadnoks and put them in the display different, and get them started with all their Zartans and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting if we ever get any motorcycles. So my Cold Slither is on the way. My Cold Slither box set is on the way. So that's our second use of the Dreadnoks. We've gotten three or so Zartans up until that point, and that'll be the fourth Zartan. But the Dreadnoks, it'll be our second use of Dreadnoks. So I'm hoping at some point that we get motorcycles. I don't know. Here's something I'll ask the chat. I'll throw out to the chat. Do you guys think they would re-release every one of the Dreadnoks, Buzzer, Ripper, and Torch with a motorcycle, slightly different motorcycle? Or do you think they would release a motorcycle by itself and you could use it for all your Dreadnoks? So you would buy that same motorcycle 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 times. So not only does Zartan use one, Zarana, Xandar, and several Monkey Wrench also get to use it. Or do you think they would only use it for Buzzer, Ripper, and Torch and release it one figure in vehicle, one figure in vehicle, one figure in vehicle? Which way do you think Hasbro would do it if they do it? Because there are some Harleys that you can get, Marvel Legend Harleys and a couple others here and there that are slightly a little bit larger than Classified, but they're usable. You would Lone Dragon. You would take one motorcycle and a remake of Buzzer that doesn't suck this time. Buzzer, you didn't care for the Buzzer, so we will get into Buzzer eventually. So I look forward to that and see if our opinions match. But that's interesting that you say that. So you think we're gonna get one motorcycle? Sean Jones. I'd hope they have different colors but same bike. What do you mean, say different colors, same bike? So the motorcycle gets 3 releases, kind of like the Ram motorcycle, but with 3 different color schemes. Like one could be a red scheme, a blue scheme, a black scheme, and be released 3 different times like that. That's interesting. And Lone Dragon, I'll buy 4 of that one motorcycle. Oh, okay, Lone Dragon. Different colors is fine too. Okay, that's cool. Let's see. Bobby World. There's a Marvel Legend Ghost Rider motorcycle. It's a retro looking chopper with flames coming off. I'm going to repaint the flames and green and add a glow in the dark film over it for crystal ball. Wow, now that is some talent there. If you can do that, send me that picture, Bobby World. That sounds really cool. So you're gonna get a chopper for crystal ball as well. So that's the thing. That's where Hasbro should be thinking reuse, right? This chopper could be used for at least a dozen characters just off the top of my head. Maybe even Joe's would have a chopper. There are some Joe's that might want a chopper, right? Instead of just same bite. Uh, yeah, I understand. Sean Jones. Yeah, those are all great ideas. Some really cool things that you guys are putting for this outside the box thinking. I love it. I love that. And that's what Hasbro should be doing. But they have to do something like that. We've got to get a motorcycle. It's just been too long. There's too many people that want that. It literally could be used for so many things. They probably have so many ideas they don't know what to do with it. But I like your idea, Bobby World, with the Ghost Rider motorcycle. That's an interesting idea too, because there's been two or three different motorcycles that Ghost Riders had in the Marvel Legends. There's the regular Ghost Rider with the flames and everything. Maybe that could be repurposed. You take the skull part off, or maybe make that the Dreadnought logo. Someone that's really good with paint apps and stuff could make that into the Dreadnought. That could be Zartan's. There's the Punisher chopper. There's like you said, the old vintage Ghost Rider chopper as well. So there's 3 or 4 Marvel Legend choppers that could be utilized, repurposed. But from what I understand, they don't like to do that sort of stuff. They don't like to use another team's work. They want to create everything on their own. So maybe that's where they're trying to come up with something different. But yeah, there's a lot of great ideas, and we desperately need a motorcycle, some sort of motorcycle. And if they do one, they're gonna have to do a bunch. So yeah, the thing with Harley Davidsons and stuff like that, being someone that's in Florida, I see all these cool versions of Harley Davidsons driving around during bike weeks and stuff like that, and Biketoberfest. And there's so many cool paint jobs, flames, skulls, blue with like sparkles, red with sparkles, silver with sparkles, all kinds of different really cool paint jobs on these Harley Davidsons. So that's probably where Lenny's stuck on. He's trying to figure out the best way to do this stuff. But I think doing multiples is the way to go, and having each one come with a different dreadnought, upgraded dreadnought, more vintage, and that's a way to do vintage packaging, right? Vintage packaging with the dreadnought and the motorcycle. So then you can buy multiples of each of those dreadnoughts with their motorcycles, so you can give the other motorcycles to other dreadnoughts, and then you will have one with each of their original character if you get multiples. And I think doing different parts for each of those motorcycles to make them modular, so you can switch things out and stuff, and that would be able to be used for other characters. So there's your 100% idea, is modular parts, each with a dreadnought and different decos, and go to town on that, and vintage package. I think that would be perfect, because we haven't gotten any vintage packaged vehicles yet. That's something that we have not gotten. And I think the fact that we're going to be getting Tiger Force and Python Patrol variations and Night Force variations for vehicles, I think that is an opportunity to do vintage package vehicles. You could start with, just like they did with Classified, start with a motorcycle. They got the Coil motorcycle with Baroness, right? I think that's the way to go, in my opinion, but my opinion is, not really worth that much. Spread the word if you guys want stuff like this, because that's how you can get Hasbro to listen, is if you're respectful and you talk in the interwebs and the chats and the web, the pulse things, but give them good ideas. They listen. They're out there. They're lurking in these things. I don't think they're in mine because I don't get enough. I don't have enough subs here for them to be in mine. They're probably in the large subgroup so they can hide the ones that are 7 to like 18 or 19,000 or whatever. Um, there's There's also a Batman 66 motorcycle with sidecar. I was thinking that would be cool for Naugahyde and Pork Belly. Yeah. See, there you go. See, you're always thinking outside the box, Bobby World. I like that about you. You have a lot of good ideas. There's a lot of motorcycles that are 1/12 scale out there. There's scooters. There's World War II motorcycles. There's the Bat cycle. There's a lot of stuff. I can't even think of all the stuff that's out there for 1/6 scale. But maybe Ramen Studios or Gridiron could do some motorcycles. I think that's something if you guys want to throw some love towards them. They've been doing some really good vehicles. A lot of these third-party vehicles have been really, really good, and that's something that would really get a lot of people's attention and notice if the third-party companies started doing motorcycles, and they don't have all the holdups that Hasbro does. So they could put skulls, they could put all kinds of different I won't say satanic, but kind of like out there. Maybe stuff like crystal balls stuff on the side of the paint for paint apps and things like that, and tampos. Oh, that would be really awesome, wouldn't it? You have a lot of 1/12 scale bikes, Sean Jones. Well, then there you go. So you've got a lot of ideas. I want to see some of those pictures. If you want to show me some of those pictures, you can go to send them to me via Messenger, David T. Allen. I would love to see some of that stuff. The same with Lone Dragon, some of your customs and your diorama stuff. I want to see all this stuff, guys. I like the interaction that you guys have and the love that you guys have and your fandom. It shows that you really care about this brand and you're trying to have fun with it. And that's what this is all about. We're basically just playing with toys here, right? That's what we're doing. I'm opening toys and putting them on display and showing them off a little bit, but that's as far as I go. You guys have a lot more talent than I do. You are awesome. All of you guys in the chat, all the cool stuff you're doing. I will send you some pics. Thank you very much, Sean Jones. Lone Dragon just sent me some pics of different things through Instagram. I'm also on Instagram, so there you go. So any more questions you guys want to ask me about Zarana? I can't think of anything. She has a prominent role in the movie, the G.I. Joe movie, 87 movie. She's an integral part of that. Lisa Raggio, the voice actress for Zarana, I met her. She's a really, really cool person. I've been trying to get an interview with her on my channel, and I hope to at some point get an interview with her because she's really nice. I met her at Joe Fest a few years ago, and some of you guys might have gotten a chance to meet her. She was at the Dallas Fort Worth DFW show, I think, this past year. She's a really, really cool lady. And she had fun and she loves the fans. So if you have a chance to go see her. And I got to see Zartan this year at Joe Fest. He was a really nice guy as well. So I guess that does it. So we got more Cobras. Our G.I. Joe is lacking. If you look at that display over there, our G.I. Joes are lacking on figures. We need more Joes. So hopefully in the next, I'd say 10 figures, we're going to get 1 or 2 Joes. Not a lot. Most of those figures, the next 10 figures, are Cobra. And so I look forward to getting to all those. You know who's next? And that is number 49. And it will be the first figure that has cloth use. So this is where Hasbro Classified starts delving into cloth goods. I just got to meet the Zach Hockman at the local convention a few months back. Yeah, he's a really nice guy. I had him sign my photo. A gem of this size solves all my problems, and I think, is probably going to be back to Joe Fest this coming year. So if you guys have a chance to go to Joe Fest, definitely some nice people. Yeah, they are. They are definitely. All the voice actors that I've met over the years have been really, really cool. I would have liked to have seen the Baroness second time before she passed. We were supposed to have her at Joe Fest, but she wasn't feeling good. She had fallen, and about 6 or 7 months later, she had passed, and that was very sad. Morgan Lofting. So yeah, if you can go out and see these guys, I recommend that highly because they're not going to be around a lot longer. A lot of these guys. Uh, what happened to the guy who voiced Roadblock? Have you ever met him? No, I've never met Roadblock. I know the guy that plays the voice of Roadblock for Renegades. He's out there. He still does voice work. He's done some podcasts and interviews and stuff. And I think he was at one of the Joe Cons, if I'm not mistaken, around that time. But I've never met Roadblock. No. I met Destro, and he's really, really unhealthy at the moment. So if you have a chance to meet Destro, uh, I suggest you go see him because he's not going to be around much longer either. And that's sad to say. I apologize. Um, Alpine's VA is in his 90s. Oh, the voice actor for Alpine? Well, I can understand. I just met Quick Kick. Since you bring up Alpine, I just met Quick Kick. He was a very nice guy at Joe Fest as well. Yeah, a lot of these guys are up there, and it's sad to say, but we don't have a lot of time for left with some of these guys. So if you can see a voice actor at a convention, a local convention, Joe Fest, DFW, Assembly Required, Kentuckiana, uh, any of the regional area conventions like SoCal Joe Show, Toylanta Joe Lana, the Boston Joe Show, the Anaheim Joe Show, and some of the others in between, Retro Con. Try to go see them because, like I said, they're not going to be around much longer. Every single voice actor that I've met has been wonderful, and I've met several of them a couple of times, like Dr. Mindbender. He was really cool. Brian Cummings. So, any other questions you guys want me to try to field in the chat here before we get this rolling? I didn't expect to go long on this video, but um, I'm here for a little while if you guys want to ask me questions. So I'm going to be rotating my display around a little. I'm going to put all the troop builders below. I have another set up down there, and I'm going to start adding dreadnoks on there, but eventually the dreadnoks will probably get their own display because there's so many Cobras that I'm going to have to start moving things around. He's a 95. Wow, that's up there. That is up there. Let me show you this. I got this today. Well, I got this technically yesterday, but I got my Haya Croc Master. So I told you I was getting a bunch of Haya stuff in, and this is the next one to come. Some beautiful artwork on him, and there's a huge gator back there. This is a 4-inch scale Haya, and Robo something or other is the company. In fact, I got to send that link to a friend of mine. And then I did an episode of Toy Talk. I came back and was back on there with my team, Action Media, and Dan Thompson from the Zone. And so catch that. That's usually Sunday afternoon. So it was early this afternoon. Um, and we're going to continue this. I'll probably be doing a special tribute episode coming up this week. If you guys are keeping up with my channel, it's going to be this tribute is going to be on Facebook. It will not be on YouTube. So you have to go over to my Facebook. It's David T. Allen if you want to watch that. It will not be on the YouTube channel. It'll show up in my feed if you go and you look for my videos. So there you go. Lone Dragon. I've only met Neil Ross online, not in person. Yeah, I've not met Neil Ross. He has done some Joe Cons, but he's not done Joe Fest. I would like them to get Neil Ross to Joe Fest before something happens. Shipwreck was always your favorite, though. Yeah, he's got a really fun voice, and he does a really good job, and he's very prominent in Sunbow. The comics, he's not as prominent, so that's one of the cool things, since you bring that up. Their characters are way more prominent in the cartoon than they are in the comics, and there are characters that are more prominent in the comics that are in the cartoon, and then the different various animated series as well. Certain characters get more prominence, like Renegades. Tunnelrat is very prominent in Renegades. The Resolute is very spread out, so there's a lot of uh, uh, um, love to a lot of characters across the board on that. Some of the Valor vs. Venom, Joe vs. Cobra animated films, there's some heavy metal, there's some gung ho, there's a few different characters, Dusty, Wild Bill, so they get a little bit more love in that. And then Deke has a whole bunch of other characters, and they get a lot of love in that. So throughout all these different medias, we get a lot of different character love on different versions, which is good because everybody's got a favorite character. Everybody's got a version of a character that is their favorite. So that gives you an opportunity to see a lot of that, these characters. You want to meet Keon Young because he was also on Deadwood. Keon Young's a really nice guy. I met him at Joe Fest a few years ago. He was supposed to be back at Joe Fest, but he got COVID. He did make it to DFW though, but he does the rounds. So you probably meet him again, have an opportunity to meet him again. Keon Young's a nice guy. So yeah, Bobby World, Neil Ross does a lot of TF cons. Yeah, he did a lot of Transformer voices. There was a Transformer con down here in Florida a couple years back. I wasn't able to go due to financial reasons or whatever at that point. And so I did not go. So I don't know if he was there. I would have loved to have met him. I hope every year we get different people to Joe Fest. Once in a while we'll get another person if they really, really respond well and they want to come back, like Dr. Mindbender came back again. And obviously we get Sergeant Slaughter every year. He's like part of the family. Sergeant Slaughter is one of the all-time nicest people in the world. And that's a guy that I highly recommend you go to, talk to, get the Cobra Clutch and get a coin from him. And he's really a good guy. But he's part of our Joe Fest family. He'll be back again this year at Joe Fest. And I'm not speaking out of turn. So I know he will be back. Love to meet the Sarge. Well, Lone Dragon, I know you weren't able to go to Joe Fest this past year, but I hope you can go this year. I believe it's at the end of June. I think like the 23rd or 24th, the weekend. And we're going to be doing a lot more interactive stuff, and we're really working hard to get a really fresh lineup of guests and people that we've never had to the show. And we've already sold out all vendor spaces on second floor, first floor, the vestibule, you name it. We're sold out within 24 hours. So it's going to be a great show. Every year just gets better and better. So I would love to meet all you guys in the chat at the shows. I got to meet Michael Gene Fleming, and I think I met somebody else this past year. So I want to talk to you guys and meet you guys in person. I think it would be really cool. I'm not a private person, or I wouldn't be doing this, obviously. I help manage Joe Fest, so I'm all over the place at Joe Fest. So that's the trickiest part, is if you do go to Joe Fest, trying to get me to stop and say hello. I'm also the voice of Joe Fest. So if you ever go to Joe Fest and you don't meet me, you'll probably hear my voice. So there you go. So, all right, guys, I really appreciate everybody in the chat again. This has really been a fun episode. I love chatting with you guys. This is a Dreadnought one. So we're going to change our mantra, and we're going to do Go Knox! Yeah!